Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Klaus from American Dad. This pattern is adapted from DIY Mummy's Splashy Bird design, which is really cool, so be sure to check that out. We are using pale orange bands, a C-clip for the end, your hook, your loom in the offset position with the middle row just raised above the sides. I'm using white pony beads for the eyes with black marker, a permanent marker to draw on the pupils and the eyelid. And we are ready. We're going to need 3 fins. So I'll make one with you and then get you to pause for the other 2. And get your loom ready and you can start anywhere on the side. We're going to take a single yellow, twist it over and onto itself so it's doubled over. Place it down along the side. And we're going to do this again 2 more times. Double your band over, place it down, and double your band over, bring it down. Next we're going to take a single, double it over, and come from that second side one down diagonally. And we'll come down once in the center, and once from the end of this last center peg to our last side peg. All doubled over bands. We have 2 more things to do. We need to cap off this end piece on the side. Take a single, loop it over 3 times. And we want a holding band to keep this a little bit tighter. So take a single, double it over, stretch it over the center 2 pegs and over the 3rd one down on your far side. You'll be reaching under your cap band and finding the 2 diagonal bands coming from the center, and we'll pull them up and over and back. You might need to pull your bands down a little bit to find them there. It's kind of hard sometimes when you have all of your bands in the same color and you need to see certain ones. So this is come back. We're going to go under and get our set of bands from which come from above, bring those back over, and take the next 2 bands from the side and pull them up and over. Now coming to the center, we'll look for the bottom 2 bands, or it's really a single doubled over, but you'll see 2 bands there, and bring them up through the other bands over the top center peg, and bring your last 2 back diagonally to the side, and finally the last 2 are coming straight up. So you can take this off of your loom and keep it on your hook. You're going to need 3 in total, and if you want you can make a 4th one to sit on the back. One of these can just stay on the hook where it is, and for the other 2 we're going to make our tail by taking a single, doubling it over, putting it on the end of the hook, and placing 2 fin pieces on top. We're going to do this 2 more times, bringing the loops off of the hook and onto our doubled over bands. This gives a little bit of an extra length to the tail. Last one, double your orange band over, put it on the end of your hook, pull your loops on top. And this can just stay here. We're going to come to the loom now and make the head body of our fish. So using all double bands, 2 bands for each set, we're coming down from the center top to the right top, down 3 times, and the same on the other side. You'll come in from the 4th right to the 5th center with 2 bands, and from the 4th left to the 5th center with 2 bands, and fill in the middle section with 4 sets of double bands. You can put your tail onto that 5th peg in the center where we finished off those pieces. You can always pause here if you need another minute to get this down. I'm trying to stay at a moderate pace for you, but take your time as you need. We're going to make a little bit of a cap for the head. So for this we take a single, wrap it 2 or 3 times on the hook, and another single, wrap it 2 or 3 times. And this goes on to, I believe I used 2 bands. You can use 1 if you're more comfortable with that. Put it on the end and pull those wrap bands over. And we're going to place this on the second peg on the top and on the third peg on the top. This will sort of pop out when we're done. We are going to make our eyes, and if you have beads with smaller holes, you can use dental floss or a thin wire to thread them onto an orange band. If you have beads with larger holes or you're using bands, you can put them directly from the hook onto your orange. This is coming from the top right peg to the top, or the third right peg, and you're gonna make a little bit of a space or a gap between the eyes. So create a hole between and separate those bands. We will draw on our eyes afterwards. I think we're almost done. We need to put our other fin on. This is going on a single band and stretching across from our third peg to our third peg. You could put this on under the eyes or over, either should be fine. And you want to pull this downwards towards the left. If you want to do 2 fins, you can always place one facing outwards, facing down, and then the other one will point up. Okay, we need a couple of cap bands. We're going to put 2 bands across from the second peg to the second peg, and you can bring it over the second in the center if you want it to be a tiny bit more snug. And we're just going to use a single and make a triangle from our 4th to our 4th, raise it above the 4th in the center. We are ready to loop. So you will pull back your tail here, find your top 2 bands, which should be going upwards. We're going to dig them out and loop them up. Now you can either get your next couple of sets and go to the sides or keep looping straight. I'm just going to go straight and then I'll come back for the others. It's a pretty straightforward looping process from here. We're just coming up the sides and having them meet in the middle. So now we have to find our next 2 bands, which should be coming from the right. Get under your tail cap bands. Oh, let me just see here what's going on. And get your next 2 going to the left and pick a side, and you can loop straight up. You're just grabbing the bottom 2 bands in each set and bringing them through the other bands and pulling them onto the peg above. Push back your holding bands, your cap bands, your eye bands, everything else. Just get the bottom 2, and once you're here, from the top peg, bring your bottom 2 or only 2 bands up to the top center. We'll repeat this on the other side. You'll have a lot of bands here, what with the eye and your little extension. Just keep looping the bottom 2 only. I'm trying to push this down here. Now you can pop your eyes through, and you can always adjust it after. I found it better just to bring the eyes under. Even though it makes them pop a little bit, it still keeps them less covered. We're going to take 2 orange bands and bring it through the top center peg to create a slip knot. I like the added thickness of 2 here because it makes a little bit of a lip bump, I guess. You're going to take these the second set and bring them over the top ones, and that creates our slip knot. Hold on to your loop and remove this carefully from your loom. You can adjust or tuck in any loose bands you might find. Pop your eyes through. We're going to hide the mouth, and I'm actually going to do something a little different this time. You don't have to do this, but I like the effect. I'm putting my hook in through the front, taking my securing bands and pulling them back to the back. And this gives it a little added thickness. And this is going to go onto the C-clip now. You can just tuck that in the back, give everything a little adjustment. You can pull that out, pop your eyes through. I'm going to make just a couple of little dots this time with my marker, but you can make the eyelids if you like. You can make very small pupils or slightly larger ones. If you want to experiment with a mouth, you can take a black band or a white band and pull it through the back so it shows up here. I didn't like the way it looked very much myself, but you might find a way that works for you. At any rate, there is your Klaus, and I do have a lot of characters I want to make for you. I'll get to them as soon as I can. And Roger is out. Most of my Family Guy crew is out. Thank you for watching. Hope you'll check out my other creations.